Hey everybody, my name is Jennifer. This is Metatron speaking. If you're new to this channel, I am a channeler. I mostly channel Archangel Metatron, although other guides as well you'll see on different videos. Um, my guides are lined up with my physical body, so you can possibly see like my shoulders moving or my hands moving or my face moving, and they're using my body like a pendulum essentially. So right side of my body, they're giving me a yes, left side of my body, they're giving me a no. I'm also clairvoyant, so you may see me look off to the side, and it's because I'm trying to see what pictures they might be able to show me. For this video though, this is our Lightworker Gateway video. If you're new to the Lightworker Gateway videos, it is a Lightworker Gateway is an energetic opening that occurs. It's about 30 days in length, approximately. It lasts for approximately 30 days, and it continues to happen back to back to back to back. These different energetic openings. The opening itself is coming through the veil that separates Earth from the rest of the galaxy. The energies are being sent from different galactic groups every 30 days, and they're being sent specifically to the light workers on Earth. If you're not sure if you're a light worker, you probably are because you're watching this video. I consider anyone who is awake right now to be a light worker. Now, that doesn't mean necessarily that you're out there like trying to wake other people up, or you've dedicated your life to spiritual work. It doesn't mean any of those things. It just means that you're holding a higher frequency. You were meant to wake up at this time, and there's this huge potential for you to assist with the ascension of the Earth, and of course your own ascension. Really, we all have to ascend on our own first, right? We work on ourselves, and this is what impacts the Earth the most, is working on ourselves. So we always want to direct all of our efforts back to where we need to change versus where other people need to change. So today's Lightworker Gateway, it's already started. I am late in the game on this one. This Lightworker Gateway started on the 10th. Either the 10th, was it the 11th? 11th. Okay, started on the 11th. So October 11th, which was a few days ago, through November 11th is going to be this particular gateway. You guys never gave me. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna read you notes that I wrote down on my phone, because this started off as a conversation with Amun-Ra, who I just posted a video about very recently. Very, very, very recently. And on that video that I posted recently, one of my viewers made a comment, and they said something to the effect of, hey, next time you talk to Amun-Ra, ask him what he can see that you can't, or what he knows that you don't know. One of those. I can't recall which one they said. And I was like, ooh, that's a good idea. And so I literally that day was like, hey, Amun-Ra, let's talk about this. So the conversation starts off with this, and it ends up with a Lightworker Gateway, because sometimes that's how the conversations go with them. So I said, Amun-Ra, what can you see that I can't? And so and so as I mentioned in the beginning of this video, my guides can move my body because I'm not super rigid with them. I allow them to move my body as they need to. And so he lifts up my head, and a demonic entity exits out my neck, which we all have those all the time. Every time you have a low vibrational thought, it's because you have a demonic entity in your energy field, which is a big energy field. It's not necessarily just your physical body. But so he removes a demonic energy from me. And he's kind of being funny, because I'm like, what can you see that I can't see? And he's basically saying, yeah, well, I can see that you have a demon right there, and I'm just going to get rid of that for you to prove that it's there. So he's being funny. And so I ask him again, what can you see that I cannot? I feel pain in random locations on my body, and a sensation that he is tugging on all these different energies that don't belong in my body. And this is a common thing for your guides to do. So if you call in any of your spirit guides, your angels, any, even like a spirit animal, ascended master, god or goddess, any spirit guide that you're interacting with that I just listed. I don't think departed souls do this, to be honest with you. So I'm just going to say ascended masters, archangels, especially gods and goddesses. The first thing they do when they meet you or start talking to you or come up to you, whether you can see them or not, whether you can feel them or not, they are kind and they're going to be like, oh, hey, you got that thing on you you're not supposed to have, or here, let me just do a little healing right here. This is really out of balance. And so they're very kind in that they will automatically just start trying to help the physical and energetic bodies. So Amun-Ra is tugging on all this stuff on me. So I just say, hey, can you remove them? Again, he lifts my head and like this bulky energy comes out of me. So I'm like, all right. It was really bulky. It was actually, whatever came out was so large that it was hard to like swallow or breathe for a moment while it was leaving. So I changed my question to Ra because I keep saying, what can you see that I can't see? And he keeps talking about literally things he can see. So I was like, what do you know that I do not know? I feel love energy from him very gently in my heart chakra. I do not hear anything, and I feel tugging inside my ears. So when I feel like, it's hard to explain, but it's like inside the ear, and I'll feel this little tug, and that lets me know that there's some kind of energy that's in my ears that's making it hard for me to hear my guides. Because clairaudience, literally hearing your guides, it's not my strongest ability. I have intuition, I have clairvoyance, I have clairsentience where I can feel energy. Those are my stronger ones. Clairaudience is actually after those. So it feels like my hearing needs to be adjusted. My spiritual hearing needs to be adjusted. I wait for him to be done clearing my energy. I feel, this was crazy, by the way, I feel a hand placed against my solar plexus. I'm not talking about an energetic hand. Like, I feel a physical hand go against my solar plexus. And my brain was like not understanding, because when you feel spiritual energy, especially in the beginning, it's extremely subtle. It's so subtle in the beginning when you're getting used to it that you'll think you made it up. And then later, the more you practice, the more it's like, oh yeah, I do. I can feel things and it's very distinct. And it's like, okay, this is great. This was so strong that I was kind of like laying down when I was channeling him, and I sat up to look at myself like, who is touching me? I was actually, my mind was having a hard time with it because it was much stronger than a typical energetic sensation. And so I'm like having this moment with with Amun-Ra, because I'm like making this shocked face, and I'm like, I tell him telepathically, I'm like, oh my God. And then he's joking still. He's still in a funny mood. And so he's like, yeah, literally, because, oh my God, Amun-Ra is a god. My God is the one touching my solar plexus. And then so I asked him, are you actually doing something with my solar plexus? Or are you just like are you showing off, basically? Are you just showing me that you can do that? And he's obviously fixed my ears because now I can hear him. And he says, until you are more like a goddess, it is my obligation to help you get closer to that self-assurance. And so his hand is still on my solar plexus, and it starts heating up. Not like, again, with feeling energy, sometimes energy feels hot, sometimes energy feels cold. Normally when it feels hot, it's like, oh, it's like this subtle warmness, right? No, it was like somebody put a heating pad on me and turned it all the way up. And so that was wild. And so it's funny because I know they can do these things, but when it's the first time I'm feeling it at that intensity, it always surprises me. So I say to him, now that I can hear you, what do you know that I do not know? He shows me my soul as an infant. And it's not like a literal infant, it's like a soul infant. It's like a freshly created being, freshly created soul. At that time, I had no awareness whatsoever. And so that's, if you ever are able to tune into that energy, that is like the creepiest thing in the world, is what I'll tell you. When you come across an energy that has no awareness, it is terrifying because um it's hard to put into words. It's terrifying because when you have no awareness of yourself, you're very dangerous. Is how I'm going to put it, right? And so you think of all these people on earth who have very little awareness. They're very dangerous because if when you don't have awareness, you use your power in ways that can be harmful for other people and yourself. So he shows me this like brand new soul kind of energy, and it's supposed to be me. And I'm looking at it. I'm like, all right, so you're telling me you know like the history of my soul, which is not surprising. Of course, he knows everything about me, right? And he tells me, he's like, no, look deeper. I'm like, all right. And so I move my energy from my physical self into this new soul energy that he's showing me. So I move my awareness over to that body. It's an energetic body. And the only thing that I can sense, because I know nothing, right? No awareness, I know nothing. But I can sense that Amun Ra is with me. He's experiencing whatever it is I experience because his energy is right there with me. So Amun Ra says, when a soul incarnates, it is an ongoing open window into that experience for the god or goddess energy. So if you think of like god or goddess energy, or like the one energy, creator energy, source energy, like people have so many words for this. So whatever words you want to use for this, I call it the one energy because it's everything. So when a soul incarnates, it is an ongoing open window into that experience for the god or goddess or one energy for the entire duration of the life. It is not something we merely learn about secondhand. We experience it firsthand through your willingness to incarnate. Our experience through you with incarnation teaches us what separation feels like. Think about this. The one energy is, there's no separation. It's everything. It's all the light and all the darkness. And so they are tapping into all of us incarnated souls in order to see through our eyes and experience what we experience and experience separation. This is the only way that we, the one energy, can learn love and compassion. So here's something to keep in mind. There has to be separation to have consciousness, and there has to be separation to have compassion and love outside of the self. This is the only way the one energy or the god goddess energy can raise their awareness. It is the only way the collective can grow and expand and ascend. We learn everything through your experiences, but you understand the collective higher knowledge and love through the divine energy that comes down to you. So the one energy versus you being an incarnated being, we are different forms of the same energy in a symbiotic relationship, each of us needing to fulfill a different role to benefit the self and each other. So I had to step away after that because I had to just process it for a second, because it's kind of weird to think of yourself as like an extension of the one energy that is merely being used for the consciousness or incarnation experience. But he was showing me, like, we need each other in these two different forms. We need the one energy to house the collective information, to house divine information that the incarnated people have access to. But we need incarnated people to be down on the ground, experiencing life, learning love, learning compassion, learning darkness, learning light. So I went back to his energy again afterwards, after I took a pause. And I asked just to feel his energy again. And in the past, when I've asked to feel his energy, he'll like let me feel different identities within his energy. Like in the past video I did on him, I was talking about, hey, he's got part of Archangel Metatron, and he's got part of Archangel Raphael, and he's got all these different components to him. But this time he just gave me this white light, which is very common from a god, a goddess, or ascended master. So white light and golden light are the only two lights I've ever really felt radiating from them. He gives me this white light, and it's this really beautiful, high vibrational light. And you can ask any god, well, I shouldn't say any god or goddess. I tend to recommend people interact with like archangels and ascended masters, because some gods and goddesses have more darkness than what is helpful for us. But let's say you're talking to an archangel and you ask them to radiate divine light on you. You can just sit there and just feel it and absorb it and just practice what it feels like, practice experiencing it. It always makes me feel like he wants me to do it now. Okay. Metatron. Okay. We're going to Metatron do this for everyone right now. So if you're interested in experiencing this, I'm going to ask Archangel Metatron to stand in front of you. If you want him to do this for you, just acknowledge it like in your mind or out loud, either way. Spiritual beings can hear both. There's no secrets. And we're going to have Archangel Metatron radiate light to the front portion of our bodies right now. And as he's doing this, what I tend to notice is that it makes me feel like I'm glowing, like it makes my face feel like it's radiating even after the energy has been removed. I'm going to take a moment and see if I can feel. Are you doing it? Okay. Do it like strong. Metatron's so gentle. Ooh. Yeah. Can you do more? So this is super gross because Metatron's doing it, and I can feel what's going to happen to you first is anything that's a lower vibration on you is going to go, oh my God, divine light, I don't want to be part of that. And it's going to try to separate from it. So he's radiating the white light on me, and I can feel things up here on me pulling back, like, ugh, it feels gross. Can you, instead of just doing the front of us, can you do like a 360, like all parts of our body, so that if it doesn't belong here, it'll just jump off? Thank you. I'm going to go back to my notes while he's doing this. And so Amun Ra was doing this to me, and I asked him to continue radiating the white light, like I keep doing this. It felt so good. It felt so good. It felt like bliss is the only thing I could describe it as. Um, Felt familiar, felt like home. It felt like he was, because he's a god or goddess energy, I guess. Um, we identify Amun-Ra as being masculine, but technically they have both qualities. He just prefers demonstrating male. Um, I lost my train of thought. Amun-Ra. So he's radiating this white light, and it's basically like what it feels like to be in God's presence, right? So if you think of like any like biblical background you have, what it feels like to be in God's presence. So obviously you've been separated from God, right? Or you believe you've been separated from God. Joke's on us, we're not separated at all, right? So we believe we're separated from God. So to be around that energy again is like, it's familiar. If it's just feels really nice. Um, so I asked him to radiate it to me. And the crazy part is that as he's radiating this divine light to me, I could feel my mind getting, well, I shouldn't say my mind. It's hard to explain it any other way. I could feel the place where I access my intuition, the place where I access all my answers in my mind. I could feel it getting closer and closer to all of the truth that has been concealed from us. So if you think of all of the information that we had to forget in order to incarnate, I could feel myself getting so close to that. And it was just like, any second now, I'm going to remember it. And I was trying to tune into the energy, the things I'm not allowed to remember. And I could sense Amun-Ra's hand like this. Like he's radiating this white light to me, but he's got his hand up to block me from remembering the things I'm not supposed to remember. So that was an interesting experience. So I got interrupted again and I go back to Amun-Ra. And by the way, I hope you can feel the energy that Metatron is giving you. I'm not going to say it feels overwhelming to me because it doesn't. Metatron is so like gentle. If Metatron is anything in this whole wide world, he is gentle and loving. Yeah. So it's a really soft energy. I'm not even, let me see if I can, I'm trying to feel what color this is. Are you giving different colors to different people? So just tune into like what color it feels like to you, because honestly, he's not giving white or gold. It doesn't feel like those, to be honest. Maybe orange, maybe. Yeah. Okay. So I go back to Amun-Ra, and Amun-Ra has decided to start working on my energy again, and he decided to start working on my Galactic Gateway chakra. So this is where we start talking about the Lightworker gateway information. So the Galactic Gateway chakra is a brand new chakra for me. The Galactic Gateway chakra is above your head. It's outside of your physical body. It's an etheric chakra because it's outside your physical body. So you have your crown chakra, and above that you have your soul star, and above that you have your stellar gateway, and above that you have your universal chakra, and above that you have your Galactic Gateway chakra. So he starts opening this, which is what we're going to be doing together with this video today. Oh, he's touching it right now. I don't know why he's doing that to me. He already did this to me once. So the Galactic Gateway chakra is not a single chakra. Most chakras we think of as like a single point, right? Single point somewhere. But I'm going to say many chakras, especially ones we don't even realize, are a grouping of chakras or a series of chakras. For example, most people think, my third eye, it is a single chakra. No, it's not. You actually have 3. 1, 2, 3. This is not the third eye because you have 2 physical eyes. This is the third eye because you have 2 other energetic eyes. Or like your causal chakras, the ones that are around your head that absorb moonlight. So it's not a single chakra. It's 1, 2, 3 behind your head and 4 above your head. So most of our chakras are probably clusters of chakras, but we just recognize them as being a single one. The Galactic Gateway chakra is a cluster of 40 chakras. So just think of like a bunch of little stars way up above your head because that's what it looks like. 40 is a very relevant number in the divine realm because numbers hold power, they hold a certain frequency. 40 is like the top divine number. So if you 40 days and 40 nights and in the Bible or whatever, or was it 30 days and 30 nights? I feel like it was 40. So just random knowledge for you. So let me go back to what he says about it. He slowly opens each one. So he's slowly opening these, right? And so I'm like just sitting there and it's been like 10 minutes and I was like, hey, how many more do you have? And he's like, oh, I have like 30 more to open. And I was like, Jesus, it's taking a long time, like longer than I thought, right? And so I said to him, is it really this slow of a process? And he's like, yes. And then I was like, oh my gosh, no, it's not. Because if you saw my last video with Amun Ra, he is working with me on patience and perseverance and other things. Absolutely, many, many other things, but that I'm aware of, patience and perseverance kind of came through strongly. And so I'm kind of like, he's telling me, oh yeah, it takes a long time to open the chakras. I'm like, no, it doesn't. I bet you this is a fast process and you're just doing this slow to me to give me another opportunity to be patient. And so I said that to him and he doesn't say anything back to me. He's just quietly sitting there. And I was like frustrated. I was like, Amun Ra, true or false? You are working on my patience right now. Like, you're doing this on purpose. And he's like, it was quiet. And then he gives me this little tiny yes. It's hard to explain because they move my shoulders. And normally it's just like, yes, it's like a big yes. It's like a regular yes. Sometimes if they're trying to be dramatic, they'll be like, yes. And they'll like hold my shoulder up. But this one was just like the tiniest little flicker to validate it. So he's being funny. And so once he finally gets around to opening all 40, again, I can feel something going on in the inside of my ears. And I recognize that whenever I, feel something with the inside of my ears, it's tied into that clairaudient or that hearing your guides ability. So this chakra being open is tied into clairaudience, but a specific kind. Since it is the Galactic Gateway chakra, it is tied to hearing galactic guides that hold a 7D vibration or higher. It is certainly possible to hear them without the chakra being opened, but this constellation of chakras is able to accept all of the information they send and then synthesize it for your understanding. Without this open, you are limited to more blunt translations when trying to communicate with them. So he's giving me this like general information. So I'm like, okay, mine are open. I need to think of like a 7D spirit guide that I have to talk to them to see if the information is coming through differently. And so the one that they have pop into my mind is his name is Gideon. He is a golden mantid. I call him Geo. That's his nickname is Geo. More than just many people call you this. Yeah, not just me. So that's his nickname. But we call him Master Geo because he is an ascended master ultimately, or he is part of that energy. But it's like Jesus, right? But he's had a physical lifetime, at least one. So Master Geo is a golden mantid, and so I asked him, "Can you help me try out the Galactic Gateway chakra by telling me something?" And the top of my head goes a little numb, and that lets me know I have 7D energy coming through because whenever you have energy going into your energy field that's a much different vibration than yours, you're gonna feel it. And it's not gonna feel good, even if it's higher. And this is because I don't know why. Why is that? He's just like different frequencies. Yeah. He's showing me waves of energy like, okay, this one is like, really like this, and this one is like this. And when they crash, it's kind of chaotic, right? When you're mixing the two energies that aren't the same frequency. Yeah. And so I can feel this energy move down through my stellar gateway. So when information goes into your stellar gateway chakra, so it goes to the universal, it goes to the stellar gateway. The stellar gateway, its job is to cut off some of the energy and remove it and reorganize the remaining energy into something that you can understand in your incarnated form. So since we are human beings with a 3D mind, the 3D mind cannot understand very much, just very simple. If you think of like what gods and goddesses know versus what the human mind can understand, that's a huge gap. So they just sent me this divine information. The Stellar Gateway is going to kind of get rid of a bunch of it because I can't understand it. So they get rid of that and they push something through that I can understand. Yeah. It feels more comfortable once it exits this chakra into my soul star. And then once it goes from the soul star into the crown chakra, it feels a little bit uncomfortable again because it's the chakras. How do I explain that? Your physical body is like the densest part of your energy. So you have your energy body is inside your physical body and it also extends outside. But your physical body is so dense because we're on a 3D planet that, again, it's uncomfortable for the information to push through. Is it considered? No. See, they modified that 7D energy into like 5D energy because I can handle 5D. And so they pushed it through, but 5D is different than my 3D body. So it feels a little uncomfortable. Let's see. The information descends into my third eye. So when they did this, I was trying to feel into what it was and I couldn't. And they were like, go eat something. And I was like, what? So this is weird. I've never had them tell me to go eat something. Eating is one of the ways you can ground your energy. Probably not the first way I would recommend unless you're hungry. Normally you could do like physical activity. I don't know. There's a lot of there's like visualizations you can do to ground your energy. There's lots of stuff. But they had me eat something to help me ground my energy because they're putting something high vibrational in. And so they're trying to anchor me by grounding my energy. They're trying to anchor me into earth before they put something in me that's going to be hard on my brain. So this is what Master Geo says. This is the information as I translate it. The Galactic Gateway chakra is associated with silver and rainbow colors. So not either or, but like both, silver and rainbow. It is a constellation of 40 small chakras that are configured into a sacred geometric pattern. This chakra must be open to communicate with beings outside your galaxy, or you must have other galactic implants in your energy, or you must have other I wrote this weird. Or you must have other galactic implants. Why did I? Okay, I wrote this crazy. Essentially, you have to have a galactic implant, or what I refer to as like equipment. So for me, I have all this stuff on the right side of my face that allows me to communicate with my guides. So this has allowed me to communicate with galactic beings that are 7D or higher instead of having those chakras opened. It takes time to learn how to translate the information coming in from that chakra. It will feel different at first, and so there will be a period of adjustment while you get used to processing information in this way. It is important that you not be discouraged by a decrease in your ability to communicate with galactic beings or other spirit guides. There is a natural ebb and flow to that ability. But also, there are times when you have received an upgrade and it will be more difficult to us for a period of time while you adjust. There are many different kinds of upgrades, not just chakras opening. Upgrades are always an improvement, but from your human perspective, you may feel like you are going backwards or doing something wrong. This is a reminder to you that progress on a spiritual level looks nothing like progress on a human level. Struggles, obstacles, and detours are a normal part of the spiritual journey. Having patience is a normal part of the spiritual journey. It is normal to go through exciting periods where you are learning much, and other periods where it feels like nothing is going on at all. Both are progress. Human eyes only capture less than 10% of the progress that is actually occurring for you. So hold on, I want to unpack that part of what he said, even though he has more to say. Essentially, I wanted to try out the new chakra, and he's like, you can't, you're not used to it yet. You're gonna need to work with it for a while. And to be honest with you, that's been the case every time. Well, that's been the case every time except when they opened my universal chakra. When they opened the universal chakra, I just started spouting all this philosophical stuff because it's connected to the one energy. And so that was a trip. But any other time, my guides have given me an upgrade to try to help me with communicating. Instead of me improving, I've always declined. I declined for a little bit. And they're like, this is how it's supposed to be. You get a new toy and you're not used to the new toy. And until you get used to it, you're not going to be better off. You're going to struggle. And so they're saying, don't worry when we open this chakra and, things don't feel like they've changed at all right away. And they're also saying, in general, if you notice all of a sudden your abilities like struggling or declining, don't assume you're doing something wrong because you're not. Many times, this is what he's saying right now. Many times many times you have been given an upgrade that you don't even know about. Because remember, we're only aware and in tune with this like teeny tiny portion of what's going on. Even if you have these amazing psychic abilities, I don't know what's going on all the time. I almost never know what's going on. I have to work really hard and tune into it. And even then, I'm missing probably a lot of what they're trying to show me. So the human mind, the human body is always a struggle to work with because it's like this low vibrational equipment that's holding us back, right? But yeah, he's saying don't be discouraged. when it feels like you're struggling, you're integrating something, you're getting used to something, this is still progress, is what he's saying. Okay, so the rest of his message says, if you have an interest in communicating with beings from the Andromedan galaxy or another galaxy, this is a meaningful upgrade for you. Some of you believe, he said, some of you who are listening right now, you're like, I'm not interested in my galactic guides. You're like, I like my spirit animals, I like the angels, I'm not really into the galactic beings. So some of you are thinking that right now, and this is what he says. But oh, what a surprise it will be when you interact with us and realize the intense love between us. Your love and connection with us is just as powerful as it is with your angelic guides, or with an ascended master, or with a spirit animal. Keep your heart and mind open to experiencing love from many different places. Each of you has specific ways that you identify. So some of you identify with specific galactic groups. Some of you identify with angelic beings. Some of you identify with a close relationship to the earth and nature. But the truth is that all beings have a relationship with angels and many galactic groups and the planet Earth. Each of you has no less than 100 planets in which you have a deep personal connection with. For some of you, it is thousands of planets. We understand that it is difficult as a human being to recognize your connection with so many different places, especially since most of those places no one has ever written about. As a human being, it is easier to say, I'm connected to the Pleiadians, or I know I have an Andromedan star family. We do not ask you to remove your labels. We do ask you to make room in your heart for all of the love that you already hold and that already belongs to you, that you are not yet aware of. Open yourself up to many strange and wonderful relationships with other beings that you could have never imagined at an earlier time in your life. If you ask someone who is connected to 10 such magnificent loving beings, galactic beings, they will tell you that their heart is full and that they have access to all of the love they could ever want. And yet, this is only 10 of them. That same person will then meet the 11th galactic being and the 12th galactic being, and they too will be unique and wonderful. This is one of the ways that infinite love exists in the universe. You will have access to all the love you could have ever hoped for by interacting with the single Archangel. And yet, there are 11 others. And loving galactic guides, more numerous than the stars. All of this and more is available to you. There are infinite supports here for you. It does not matter if you have access to every psychic ability. It only matters that you persist, and you persist at your attempts at connecting with us. It only matters that you persist at your attempts at connecting with us. For we persist in our attempts at connecting with you. For those of you who believe that you strive to connect with us and that you have made no connection, you are mistaken. The battle that you are going through now is about your perspective. You have made contact with us, but your mind is denying it. Your mind denies the signs, and your mind denies the intuition, and your mind denies the ideas that have been placed into you from us. Even with obvious signs, over time, some will try to talk themselves out of it. There are no coincidences. There is no such thing as random, and there is no such thing as chance, and there is no such thing as accident. Your life is a highly orchestrated musical composition, and though you cannot understand how this is possible, it is. The more you open yourself up to our unique ways of communicating with you, the more you will notice our ongoing messages. Be curious. Research the metaphysical meaning behind the animals and numbers and colors that you keep coming across. Be open to discovering a connection with a god or a goddess or a galactic being that looks like an 8-foot tall praying mantis. He's being funny and he's referencing the mantids who look like 8-foot tall praying mantises. He says, be open to beauty and love, for if you take the time to notice, you will find it everywhere. So this is the end of Master Geo's message. Normally we identify like a particular group of beings. Is this just Amun-Ra? Okay, so we're going to call this the gods and goddesses are helping us with our galactic gateway chakras. It's going to be Amun-Ra, basically. It's going to open these up for everybody. So let's go ahead and take a look at the crystal grid that he and I put together. So this is the crystal grid that Amun-Ra and I created. So you'll notice that there's it's probably harder to see actually here, but a lot of silver energy on this one. There we go. Some silver energy on this guy. And then because of the rainbow, I used Aura Quartz, which has like a cool rainbow sheen to it. Okay. And we have opal that has. See if we can get that. There we go. Opal that has all the colors in it. And then we have hematite that has like the silver sheen on it. Okay. So let's go ahead and just start off by inviting Amun-Ra in. I encourage you to do 3 deep breaths in and out. So let's go ahead and do that while we have Amun-Ra being invited in. So we'll go do deep breath in, deep breath out, deep breath in, and exhale out. And last breath in, last breath out. And just continue to breathe normally. We also have our meteorite here in the center. Let me go ahead and make sure I can just feel Amun-Ra's energy. I know you're here. Can I feel your energy? And can you also, thank you, hi. Okay, he is choosing to clear me. So no hello, no hi. Immediately just moves my neck back. It moves my head back to clear something out of my neck. And I can feel him in my solar plexus. Okay, so I'm gonna ask that Amun-Ra interact with each of you during this process as well. So you may feel it as like a subtle sensation in one of your chakras. If he's clearing you, you might sneeze, you might cough, you might burp. Kind of do a lot of things. He is going to be opening those 40 chakras for us. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to spray 2 of my Amanda Ellis sprays. I don't have there's no such thing as a spray for your Galactic Gateway chakra, so we're going to use silver, which is actually meant to be for the crown chakra in her line, but because of the color, it'll hold the frequency we want. And then along with that, we're going to use rainbow unicorn because of the rainbow. So I'm going to spray these both together right now, just to initiate the process. There we go. Smells amazing. And all of that just fell all over my grid. And I'm just going to use my Reiki hand here. And Dom and Ra lined up with me to just do proper activation of the grid. There we go. Okay. So this grid will be sending you energy along with Amon Ra working in front of you right now. I'm assuming he's going to open up your chakras a whole lot faster than he did mine. I if I don't expect you to feel a lot from this, but what you might actually end up feeling is pressure on the very top of your head, on the top half of your head, pressure or like a heaviness almost. And so that's because anytime there's work being done in the chakras above your physical head, you don't have a physical body up there, and so there's no physical body to register a sensation. So the top of your head is oftentimes what feels that pressure instead. If you feel stuff in other locations on your body, I'm going to say it's Amon Ra interacting with you. So either healing, clearing, or just playing around, just trying to get your attention. He did heat with me earlier, so you could feel heat. But in general, the way he feels, it's like no way to put words to it. He honestly, he feels a whole lot like the other energies that make up his energy because they make up his energy. So that's, I guess, one of the tricky things that I realized working with a god or goddess is that they kind of feel exactly like, you know, different archangels or different guides. So I don't even know that I can distinguish him from Archangel Raphael if he's giving me Archangel Raphael energy. I honestly don't know the difference yet, so I'm working on that. So let me go ahead and just see what we're going to do with opening these chakras. He's just going to do it on his own. Okay. Will this be done by the end of the video? No. Okay, so it does take a long time. Okay. So since this is used to make a connection with 7D galactic guides and higher, I want to ask a 7D galactic guide. Could be one, could be two. I want to ask at least one to step forward right now for everyone. And you might be able to feel this person. You might be able to see this person. You might not. Use your intuition if you can, because your your other gifts, so your ability to feel, your ability to have intuition and just know the answer, your ability to see things, those are not blocked by you not having that galactic gateway chakra opened. What's been blocked is the clairaudience to higher beings. So you might not be able to hear them quite yet because your chakras aren't open, but see if you can pick up any other information. You might even want to sit there and think about, okay, what is their name? What is the first letter of their name? And write it down somewhere. Because later, when your gifts improve, you'll go back to that letter and you'll be like, oh my gosh, it was so and so who stepped forward. And at the time, you don't know. At the time, the best you can do is figuring out the first letter of their name, right? So I'm just going to take a moment and be quiet and see if I can get a new guide to step forward for me. I can feel them. I can tell by how it feels that they are a version of Archangel Michael, but I don't see anything. So just notice whatever you can notice about your guide and write it down because it's important to be able to look back on it later. How are we doing on the chakras? Feels like he's playing with mine because I can even feel it on like my eyebrows. It feels like almost like not quite dizziness, but just a little pressure there. How are we doing? How many of those are open? 5 is his estimate on everybody. All right. So these are going to continue to open today for you. My apologies if you are like going back to work or doing something super important during this time. Your guides are going to be careful with you. So if you are jumping into a vehicle right now, they're not going to keep working on you. They're going to wait until it's a good time for you, and then they're going to finish this workout. They will have to do it while you are awake. But other than that, they're just going to wait for the right time. Okay, you guys, I have no idea what the impact of this one's going to look like because mine is in the same spot as yours, basically. It's going to take time to get used to it. So I hope you enjoyed this, and I will see you guys next time. Bye bye.